Welcome back. You're watching 9 News. Moving on to Asian news. A senior Chinese official who is a close ally of China's president was demoted on last Saturday, surprising analysis ahead of the once in 10 years leadership transition.
Lin Jihua served as the chief of the General Office of Communist Party of China's Central Committee before the demotion. He is now appointed as the head of the less powerful United Front Work Department. One of the main missions for him is to deal issues with Taiwan and Tibet. The demotion has created doubts for Lin's future. He had been tipped for promotion in the country and was considered as President Hu Jintao's close ally. Analysts said the chance he would be selected for a high post in October would be small. There were also rumours about his son involved in a high-profile car accident in Beijing earlier this year, which could be the trigger for the demotion.
North Korea said Typhoon Bolifin has claimed 48 lives and left over 20,000 homeless.
According to the state-run news agency on Monday, the typhoon that hit the peninsula last week has killed 48 people, left more than 50 people injured or missing, damaged 50,000 hectares of farmland and destroyed or inundated 6,700 houses. Typhoon Bolifin travelled up the western side of the Korean peninsula, also killed 15 people in South Korea and caused limited damage on the Japanese island of Okinawa. Before Bolifin typhoon, North Korea was still recovering from the previous floods in June and July, which killed 169 people. The previous floods have also left 400 missing and over 212,000 people homeless. The communist country has asked the UN's World Food Programme for emergency food aid after the floods.
A Grand Bull's late co-creator has been arrested on suspicion of running over a policeman with a Ferrari in Bangkok.
Police arrested Fuyaru Yuvida, Red Bull's inheritor, after tracing a long trail of engine oil leading to his family's gated estate. After Bangkok's police chief took over the inquiry and a search warrant being immediately issued, police found a badly damaged Ferrari sports car in the house's underground car park. The police that was killed riding a motorbike was dragged by the Ferrari about 200 meters along the road, suffered a broken neck and multiple broken bones. Later on Monday, Yuvida admitted the killing and could face 10 years in jail.
Now moving on to sports news. All Black front Woodcock is set into the squad after suffering a rib injury against Australians.
Woodcock didn't play in the second Bledisloe Cup test, but now feels he's ready to play against the Argentinian Pumas on Saturday in Wellington. He started training yesterday and will be observed to check he's 100% fit. Woodcock is looking forward to scrum time with the Pumas, saying it was always a big challenge against them. The Pumas have arrived in New Zealand capital with some confidence after their strong performance in the 16-all draw against South Africa. They believe jet lag will not be a problem. In a strange twist, former All Black coach Graham Henry has been assisting Pumas coach Santiago Phelan in his role as technical advisor. He will be with the team in Wellington, but does have the sanction from the New Zealand Rugby Union.
New Zealand's 24-year winning drought in India has been extended, but Captain Ross Taylor says they came away with their pride intact.
The Kiwis were punished by an innings and 115 runs in the first test. In the just completed second test, off-spinner Jeetan Patel picked up 3 wickets, and the Indians were reduced to 166 for 5 at one stage, chasing 261 for victory. But India's MS Dhoni and first innings century maker Virat Kohli added an unbroken 96 for the 6th wicket to take the game away from the Black Caps. Captain Ross Taylor recognised that the Indians deserved to win in the end, but, as has been acknowledged by the critics, the Kiwis matched their opponents for 4 days. He has every faith that the Black Caps will improve yet again for the next game.
The super-rich club Zenit St Petersburg Football Club spent £63 million to bring Hulk and Axel Witsel from Portugal to Russia, minutes before the transfer window closed.
Brazilian striker Hulk and Belgian midfielder Axel Witsel left Porto and Benfica for £39.5 million and £32 million respectively. Hulk will wear the number 29 shirt, while Witsel will take the number 28 jersey for the duration of their 5-year contract. Hulk has once come very close to have moved to Stamford Bridge, but Chelsea would not stump up the fees Zenit decided to pay. Hulk is on record as saying he will only ever want to play in Spain or England, as they have the best leagues in the world, so this does come as some surprise. Zenit, drawn in the Champions League Group C along with AC Milan, Anderlecht and Malaga, will be able to use both players in Europe's premier club competition.
The New Zealand dollar fell to its lowest against the euro since late June, as European Central Bank gave out details of its bond buying plans, causing Kiwi currency fell from 80.14 to US 79.70 cents, while the dollar traded at 63.62 euro cents in Wellington yesterday. Today we have our TV9 Finance Weekly host Brenda Lee with Howard Wilcox, Australasia Director, Sales and Marketing from New Zealand KVB Quinlan. Let us hear more from him.
So first of all, could you tell us what happened to the global financial market recently or perhaps last week?
Well, to be honest, not much. It's been a pretty dull week. Really a couple of reasons why. There was a central bankers symposium at Jackson Hole late last week, so the markets were pretty quiet ahead of that. They weren't too sure whether we were going to see more quantitative easing from Bernanke, the Fed chairman, US Fed chairman. We saw a little bit of that, but the markets really have been drifting. There's been no clear direction. Currency values have been pretty similar from the start of the week, where they ended up last week and where they began this week.
Okay, so how about the current events in both New Zealand and Australian markets?
Well, I think the current events, if we look back from where we were last time, so the last month or so, nothing's really changed. I think the New Zealand economy is continuing to perform, not well, but growth is there, albeit slow growth. Good thing is food prices are still remaining fairly steady. We've seen some reduction in the dairy prices and the milk fat prices come off, but nothing too large. Overall, food prices are still quite firm, and interestingly enough, one of our biggest markets, of course, is China. The food prices there have shown about a 3% increase over the last 4 to 5 months. So that's, for New Zealand, that's good. It's good. Not so good if you're buying food in China, but good if you're exporting food to China.
Would that be the dairy product?
I think it's fairly broad-based. Certainly dairy will be part of that, but I think it is quite broad-based, and New Zealand really is seen predominantly as a food exporter, so that's good news for us.
It's a positive sign, isn't it?
Positive sign.
So how about Australia?
Australia's having a bit of a tough time. You know, we've talked about the two-speed economy, where you've got the mining companies, and those companies associated with mining industries are doing very well, and then you've got the other part of the economy, the retailers not doing well at all, manufacturers and exporters. Pretty hard to manufacture and export in Australia or out of Australia when you've got a currency, you know, well over sort of 1.02 against the dollar, 1.03 against the dollar. So still very much the same story there, two speeds to the economy. Certainly we've got a Reserve Bank of Australia rate decision today. Comes out this afternoon New Zealand time. Not expected to increase, not expected to decrease rates, not this time, but the markets are looking perhaps for another 25 basis points to come off the Aussie interest rates. They're currently at 3.5, so probably by November, if things haven't got better, you'll probably see those rates come back to 3.25, but probably nothing today.
Right, so it might...
For the full disclosure, make sure you're watching Finance Weekly on Thursday morning, 8 o'clock. Now moving on to our Happy Diner, introducing and reviewing your favourite restaurants in Auckland.
If you like Taiwanese snacks and delicacies, you just can't go on without trying the Taiwanese-style fried chicken. Although it's easy to find in Auckland, I would highly recommend this restaurant to you. The Taiwanese-style fried chicken usually fries the chicken meat and chicken powder together, but the owner here has his own secret method, where he applies a layer of secret sauce on the freshest chicken meat.
很多地方都可以吃到盐酥鸡，那这里盐酥鸡的不同呢，首先第一点呢就是
You can try Taiwanese-style fried chicken in many places, but this restaurant is different. The chicken has a crispy outer layer and a softer texture on the inside. You won't feel the layer and the meat separated, and it's like you're eating a very soft lolly.
Next dish to be introduced will fill the room with its delicious fragrance, the sausage-flavored glutinous rice. When we talk about the preserved meat rice, instantly people think of the Cantonese clay pot. But this one is quite different. The chef carefully picks various kinds of preserved meat to the mix. Sticky rice is then added before putting everything into the steamer. Two completely different ingredients goes perfectly together in taste. The sticky rice absorbs the oil from preserved meat, but leaves only a delicious taste in your mouth.
这个辣味煲仔饭呢，它这个口感呢跟这个
The preserved meat is different from the stronger ones from Hunan and the sweeter ones from Canton. This one is like a mix of the two, which makes it perfect. At the end, he puts sausages and rice on the steamer for a long time, taking the
For the full